Hi, I'm Mark Delarier, and I'm going to teach you how to make a classic Hollandaise sauce and also one of its derivatives, Bearnaise sauce. So what we're going to do first is start out making the reduction for the Bearnaise sauce. And for that, you start out with a 1/4 cup of chopped shallots and a 1/4 cup of chopped fresh tarragon. I'm going to put that in a skillet. It's already been turned on. And to that, we're going to add approximately 4 ounces of white wine and 4 ounces of white wine vinegar. Now that we have that going and reducing still in eyesight, we're going to make the Hollandaise sauce. And it's a sauce that frightens a lot of people to make. They think it's extremely hard. There's a lot of very simple techniques you can use to make it. Some people make it in the blender or food processor with hot butter. Restaurants traditionally use clarified butter, which they tend to have on hand, adding it slowly to it. I'm going to make it with cold butter, which for the home cook is a lot easier. The first thing we'll do is separate your eggs. And I'm going to save the egg whites for later use. Egg whites freeze really well, so I'll put these in the freezer and save them for baking. Now to the eggs, we're going to add the juice of 1 lemon. The acid helps in the cooking process. And we're also going to add some hot water, approximately 2 tablespoons. And another reason for adding the liquids in the beginning, it makes the eggs get really fluffy and aerated. So we're going to put this on top of a pan of boiling water. You don't want the water boiling heavy, just simmering. And we'll take and whisk that. Now it's been about 1 minute and it's starting to thicken up. What you're basically looking for is when you can see the sauce thickening up, and as you're moving it across the bottom of the pan, you'll start to see spaces where you can actually see the stainless steel of the bowl. Okay, now if you take a look at that, you can see where it's thickened up, about the consistency of a loose mayonnaise. Now comes the part that most people find tricky, and that's adding the butter so that it doesn't separate. And you want the butter nice and cold because as you whisk it into the warm sauce, if the butter's too warm, it'll separate right away and you end up with eggs in a butter soup. So we're just going to throw a few of those in there. And as we go, we might have to return it to the heat. We'll see how it works out. Put a little more heat on this. It is a lot quicker if you do it in the food processor or blender. The only problem with that, I find, is it gets it really aerated where it almost becomes like a whipped cream. And it just doesn't look as good sitting on the food. We'll add the rest of the butter. I've used 4 egg yolks with this, and I've also used 1 stick of butter, or 4 ounces. So a good way to look at it is 1 ounce of butter per egg yolk. Okay, there's still a few little pieces of butter in there, but I can take that off now and they will melt. You can see you've got a nice smooth consistency, and it's still it's thin enough to spoon but thick enough to where it will stand up. Okay, the next move we have is to go ahead and make the Bearnaise sauce. Straight Hollandaise sauce is really good to use with a lot of vegetables, cauliflower, broccoli, asparagus. They go really well together. And then you can use the Bearnaise sauce. It works very well with meats, fish. And then it's also, as this being a derivative of the Hollandaise, you could take Bearnaise sauce and add a little tomato puree to it, and that would be called sauce Charon. Or you could add veal stock or beef stock to it, and that's sauce Foyot. And the list really goes on for the different sauces you can make out of Hollandaise. And now we're going to take and strain some of this liquid into there, a little bit at a time. That way we're not breaking the sauce. Okay, and there we have it. Classic Hollandaise sauce turned into Bearnaise.